Asylum Justin Malamor for Revolution News. Here at the Library and Archives Canada, where the Emergency Act inquiry is taking place at. Folks, yesterday I got the chance to talk to Kit Wilson. He's the lawyer representing Tamara Leach and Chris Barber. But of course, sir, not only that I got the chance to ask very important questions to Kit Wilson, but well, aside from that, yes, I also got the chance to catch up with Derek Sloan, the leader of the Ontario Party, and of course, I got also the chance to ask him some couple of questions. But of course, just see for yourself how that interaction went. See for yourself. Once again, here, folks, check it out. Mr. Wilson, what do you say to the allegation that the protest was unlawful?
It was not unlawful, not according to the law of Canada.
And the other fact that, what do you say to the fact that the protesters were frustrated to the fact that their bank accounts were frozen?
Sorry, ask your question again, my friend.
So, you said that the frustration between the clients of yours and the protesters, the fact that they cannot actually purchase gasoline because their
Yep.
bank accounts were frozen.
Well, the freezing of the bank accounts had a huge impact, and people missed mortgage payments and couldn't make car payments and couldn't buy food and prescriptions. So it was an excellent example of the government using its most extreme tools to try and punish those Canadians who stood up and were challenging government overreach and asking for respect to the Charter of Rights and Freedoms.
Mr. Wilson, one last thing for me is that the Emergency Act is that, well, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and Public Safety Minister Mark Mendicino keep saying that the Emergency Act was justified and necessary to clear the protest and to end the Freedom Convoy protest. What do you have to say about that claim?
The reality is not a single trucker left because their bank account was frozen. We've already had extensive evidence that they were able to secure tow trucks without the Emergencies Act. And in any event, there's clear legal criteria that are required to be met in order for the government to use these unprecedented powers to override Canadians' rights and interfere in provincial jurisdiction. And all of the evidence so far is absolutely uncontested and clear that those conditions weren't present. And that is the evidence, in fact, of the Superintendent for Intelligence with the OPP, so or inspector level. They haven't made their case, and I don't think it's going to get any better with the witnesses to come.
So there you have it, there, folks. You can just see it from there. Is that yes, basically, that Kit Wilson went on and said that the protest was not unlawful, but of course, basically here, folks, is that yes, the other part here that occurred yesterday is that yes, when I asked Derek Sloan a very important question, and of course I also asked him about, well, yes, the lawyers of Doug Ford saying that there will be a irreparable harm, but of course see for yourself here, folks, how my interaction with Derek Sloan went. Check it out. So the lawyers for the Premier said that there will be irreparable damage that will be affected to him if he doesn't go to the court and challenge the subpoena. And what do you make of that type of statement?
Like Doug Ford, I'm not sure what irreparable damage he's talking about. Whatever the decision-making process was that caused him to make the decision to support the Emergencies Act and whatever discussions were going on behind the scenes, they deserve to come out. The Emergencies Act has come and gone. There's no irreparable damage other than to his political reputation, which is not irreparable damage in a context that makes sense. Those are his decisions. He needs to be accountable to them. So that's what I believe.
And the other part is that what do you say to the fact that there's no opposition that actually taking place at the Parliament before during the leadership of O'Toole back then when it comes to the COVID restrictions?
Yeah, so there was no effective opposition. That's something that Tom Marazzo made clear in his testimony, and I agree with him the opposition parties were basically encouraging the Liberal government to do more. So, for example, when it came to buying the vaccine, they were instead of having a discussion about different ways to address COVID, they would just say, well, they're not bringing the vaccine in fast enough, or they're not doing this fast enough. So they were critiquing the government's performance, but not critiquing the methodology or ideology behind it.
And one last thing here, Mr. Sloan, is that what do you say to the fact that Marco Mendicino, the Public Safety Minister, and the Prime Minister Justin Trudeau keep saying that the Emergency Act was necessary and justified so that the Freedom Convoy protest could be ended, and that the fact that the Ottawa residents can go back to their normal lives?
Well, I don't think that there's any justification for the Emergency Act. The only thing that the government seems to be focusing on is the fact that a small group of people made a memorandum that is lacking, the understanding of sort of how our government works here. Well, big deal, right? I mean, they're trying to make the charge that somebody somewhere was racist. Well, somebody somewhere was probably racist, but that doesn't amount to needing to make a public emergency or invoke the Emergencies Act. So their justification is falling short, and it will be shown to be a sham. And I think we're seeing that play out in real time.
All right, so there you have it there, folks. You can just see how Derek Sloan responded to my questions, and well, of course, here, folks, basically just proves that, well, yes, the lawyers of Premier Doug Ford and Premier Doug Ford himself are just hanging by rope, so desperate to initially go on and try to salvage himself from scrutiny. And of course, basically here, folks, aside from that, well, we're gonna see how things will go, because obviously now that I saw last night that the judge hearing the legal challenge of Doug Ford is delaying his decision, or her decision. But of course here, folks, aside from that, I would say is that yes, basically, well, oh yes, that's how my interaction with Kit Wilson and Derek Sloan went. For Revolution News, I'm Aselum Justin Bellamar. Folks, if you want to be kept up to date on what's happening at the Emergency Act inquiry, including my live tweets and some clips and highlights that occurring at the Emergency Act inquiry, by heading over to revolutionnews.ca/Emergency Act Commission. That's revolutionnews.ca/Emergency Act Commission. And of course here, folks, while you're there, please head over to donorbox.org/Emergency Act Commission. That's donorbox.org/Emergency Act Commission. And of course here, folks, if you could chip in a buck or two, that will be greatly appreciated, as it will help me cover my travel expenses, including my expenses on food, as bringing you these stories doesn't come for free. Thank you so much.